Welcome to Legacy of Eldergrove, a tale woven with shadows and secrets. Join us as we delve into a hidden world where a courageous young woman uncovers her ancestry entwined with a clandestine vampire society. As the veil between darkness and light grows thin, our protagonist must navigate alliances and betrayals. Enjoy this captivating dark fantasy story while you relax or multitask, be it during a walk, cooking, or simply unwinding with your mind adrift in a realm of ancient mysteries and eternal night. The Heart of the Veil, Legacy of the Sunlit Betrayal. Part Shadows over Eldergrove. The wind howled through the ancient pines, carrying the whispers of those long forgotten. My footsteps were mere echoes in the vast silence of Eldergrove, a forest shrouded in perpetual twilight. Shadows clung to the trees, moving with a life of their own as the silver moon cast its ethereal glow upon the forest floor. I was mere days into my 21st year when I received the letter. It was a crinkled parchment sealed with an unfamiliar wax crest, a bat with wings spread wide. The message inside was as cryptic as the symbol. Without delay, make haste to the village at the wood's edge. Destiny awaits. My parents had always been superstitious folk, often warning me against venturing too far into the unknown. But curiosity was a flame that scorched my soul. I could not quench it, even when fueled by unease. The village of Eldergrove was as ancient as the trees surrounding it. Its cottages stood like specters in the night, and the air was thick with tales of lost wanderers and unseen things. It was there that I was to discover my destiny. Upon arriving, I was greeted by Elizabeth, an elderly woman whose eyes were like dark pools of forgotten stories. She spoke of a calling, a summons from those who lived beyond the light in the depths of the forest. She bid me join a gathering of souls who would unveil secrets hidden for centuries. As the moon climbed higher, I found myself standing before a circle of strangers, cloaked in mystery. Their faces were hidden beneath masks carved with delicate filigree. I was entranced. Drawn into their world, as though under a spell, Elizabeth stepped forward, lifting her mask to reveal eyes that glinted with something I could not name. She spoke of a society locked away in time, bound by an allegiance to shadows and secrets. Swiftly, the others removed their masks, revealing smiles sharp, and knowing I felt my heart race, Asa fans wearing a silent call, for in that moment we were united by a shared truth. We were not just children of the night, but the inheritors of a legacy that thrived in darkness. Within the depths of Eldergrove, our tale began. The first of many secrets unfolded, and the realization dawned that our fates were entwined tighter than I ever imagined. My journey had only just begun, and the shadows of Eldergrove whispered promises of mysteries and revelations yet to come. Part: The Secret of the Crimson Veil. In the days that followed the gathering beneath the moonlight, I learned of the world hidden beyond the veil of normalcy, one that pulsed with life as vibrant and shifting as the very shadows that cloaked it. The society was known simply as the Crimson Veil. Anami whispered in reverent tones by those who bore its mark. Elizabeth became my mentor and guide. Her stories were woven with threads of history, tales of ancient clans and forgotten alliances. Each revelation was a piece of the ever-expanding puzzle. I found myself piecing together my own lineage, my past all intertwined with the very fabric of the veil. I learned that not all within the shadowy embrace of Eldergrove were all eyes. The society was a delicate balance, a web spun of power and intrigue, where allegiance was paramount and betrayal lurked in the corners of every shadow. As I delved deeper, I discovered the teachings of the Veil. Their practices were shrouded in mysticism, the forgotten magics and old rituals designed to bind and protect. I found myself caught between two worlds, the one I had known, a life of sunlit simplicity, and this new existence filled with the pull of an intoxicating darkness. One evening, beneath a canopy of stars, Elizabeth entrusted me with an ancient tomb. Its pages were worn with a jet, the ink faded, and the language a script I had never encountered before. She told me it contained the foundation of our society, the dark arcana that enabled Dowerkind to thrive. It spent hours deciphering its mysteries, the words revealing secrets that were as intoxicating as they were perilous. One passage spoke of a ritual, the ritual of blooded oaths, a binding ceremony conducted only once every century. It seemed I was destined to partake a revelation, both thrilling and terrifying. As I studied, the to me sense of foreboding took root in my heart. Shadows seemed to move with greater purpose. Tales whispered of dark forces longing to rend open the delicate balance we belonged to. In the silence of Eldergrove, the forest itself seemed to hold its breath, watching, waiting. Our next gathering approached, each of us prepared to step into the dark embrace of our shared legacy. I was no longer an outsider, I belonged to the shadows, and in return they embraced me, son of their own. But with the secrets of the Crimson Veil unraveled, so too came with a chilling realization lurking just beneath the surface of this newfound world. The more I delved into its mysteries, the more I understood that power came at a price, and the shadows held their own set of rules that could not be broken without direct consequences. The path before me was set and my choice already made. From the heart of Eldergrove, I was called not only to uphold the secret of the Crimson Veil, but to confront the dark destiny that awaited in its wake. Part Dance of the Moonlit Blades. Our gathering came under a sky weighted with stars, their luminescence casting a silver sheen over the clearing. It was here, in the heart of Eldergrove, that the ritual of blooded oaths would bind us forever to the Crimson Veil. Hearts quickened, each soul bracing for the transformation that awaited. The clearing was surrounded by silent trees, their branches weaving a tapestry against the backdrop of the sky. Elizabeth stood at the center, a figure carved from shadow and moonlight. In her hands, she held a ceremonial dagger, its edge sharp enough to cleave the very air. I watched as each member stepped forward, blood oaths offered to the night. The dagger cut through flesh, the pain brief but grounding, a reminder of the life that thrummed within me. My turn came swiftly, the blade poised at my arm, a swift motion, and it was done me blood mingling with that of countless others, our fates entwined in an unbreakable tapestry. With the ceremony complete, there followed a dance, a tradition as old as the veil itself. It was a dance of the moonlit blades, a celebration of power, balance, and unity. We moved as one, shadows flickering and weaving under the watchful eye of the ancient trees. Our movements mirrored the stories of those who came before, each step an echo of lives lived in devotion to the Crimson Veil. As I danced, a sense of belonging unfurled within me, raw and intoxicating. But lurking beneath the euphoria was the knowledge that danger walked hand in hand with this newfound power. The ritual had opened a door, one that could not be easily closed. The wind carried with it a whisper, an unfamiliar voice, promising retribution and ruin. I felt it draw near, a presence cloaked in darkness and deceit. It was a warning and a challenge, a reminder that the shadows had their fair share of enemies. Leaving the gathering, I could not shake the feeling of eyes upon me. Every shadow seemed to harbor unknown threats, and every gust of wind carried secrets just out of reach. The dance had ended, but the stakes were rising, each moment fraught with the weight of choices yet to be made. In the days to follow, I resolved to uncover the truth lurking beneath the surface of the veil. Determination burned within me, a flame that would not be extinguished until the light of understanding pierced the darkness surrounding us. For now, I remained in the embrace of Eldergrove, but something in the air promised change, an unspoken promise, or perhaps a curse, one I was yet to confront, under the watchful gaze of the moonlit blades. Part Whispers of the Blood Pact. The days slipped by like shadows at dusk, as I delved deeper into the mysteries surrounding the Crimson Veil. My nights were spent in whispered conversations with Elizabeth, her voice a steady guide through the tumult of this hidden world. My understanding grew with each secret she shared, each tale of betrayal and sacrifice woven into the tapestry of our kind. It was during one such evening, as the fireplace cast flickering shadows upon the walls, that Elizabeth spoke of the Blood Pact. A binding agreement older than the very trees of Eldergrove, it was said to have been formed to protect our society from the terrors that lurked beyond. But the whispers in the wind spoke of betrayal, fissure threatening to crack the pact and rend apart the delicate balance we clung to. Intrigued and uneasy, I decided to seek out the truth of these whispers. My search led me to the deepest parts of Eldergrove, where the forest grew dense and unforgiving. It was there, amid gnarled roots and twisted branches, that I first heard the voices faint and distant, woven by the air itself. They spoke of dissent within the ranks of the Veil, of a group known as the Forsaken. Their aim was to unravel the Blood Pact and unleash chaos upon the order we had sworn to protect. It was a heresy, a challenge that threatened not only the Veil, but the very fabric of our existence. Haunted by these revelations, I found myself torn between duty and desire. The pull of the shadows grew stronger, their secrets more tantalizing, yet fraught with peril. Allies had to be chosen wisely, for betrayal wore many faces. Time moved forward, unrelenting, each passing day more precarious than the last. As the nights grew longer, the dangers surrounding Eldergrove became more palpable, the forest itself seeming to close in, as if in anticipation of an impending storm. It was during one such night that a stranger arrived in our midst, a figure cloaked in mystery and darkness. His name was Alaric, and in his eyes rested the weight of secrets I could not fathom. He claimed knowledge of the Forsaken, offering guidance and insight into their plans. Yet trust was a fragile thing, and I tread carefully, mindful of the danger in placing faith in a stranger's words. Alaric spoke of a time before the Veil, of rival factions and blood feuds, his voice rich with the timbre of ancient stories. It was clear that his presence was no mere coincidence, and I sensed that his arrival heralded a turning point in our tale. United by our shared purpose and lingering suspicions, we worked to unearth the secrets buried within the heart of the forest. Our efforts revealed truths that set the soul afire, and ominous portents of a climax that loomed on the horizon, threatening to shatter the world I had come to know. Thus began a new chapter in our struggle, where whispers of the blood pact served as both guide and warning, an ever-present reminder that the dance of shadows was far from over. Part The Masquerade of Eternal Night. The air hung heavy with the promise of a storm, the kind that builds quietly until it bursts with a fury to match the restless heavens. I stood at the edge of the clearing, a spectator to the world of shadows as preparations began for the Masquerade of Eternal Night. It was a celebration, an age-old tradition that marked the solstice with revelry and solemn vows. Our village transformed under the gaze of the moon, cottages draped in silks and lanterns that flickered like fireflies in the night. The Crimson Veil embraced the celebration, a chance to reaffirm bonds and test the mettle of alliances. Yet beneath the veneer of gaiety lingered an undercurrent of unease, whispers of the Forsaken growing louder with each passing day. As evening descended, the villagers gathered in the square, each donned in elaborate masks that hinted at their inner selves' anonymity, granting freedom to reveal truths concealed in daylight. My own mask was a delicate piece of artistry, a blend of midnight blues and silver filigree. Behind it, I felt the weight of an ancient destiny pressing against my very being. Amidst the laughter and music, I found Alaric moving between the guests like a shadow cast from the heart of the forest. His presence was magnetic, and as our paths crossed, his eyes met mine with an intensity that spoke of shared intent and burdens carried in silence. "There is much to discover tonight," Alaric murmured, his voice barely rising above the crowd's cacophony. "The Forsaken are not far. The masquerade offers them a perfect cover." His words sent a shiver through me. We spoke in hushed tones, our conversation interlaced with the festivities surrounding us. Alaric shared details gleaned from whispered confessions and hidden missives, weaving a tale of a plan that would see the blood pact undone before the night's end. The Forsaken intended to strike in the midst of celebration, cloaked in the anonymity the masks provided. As the dance of the masquerade continued around us, I felt the urgency in our task escalate, each moment filled with a perilous anticipation. We needed to identify them, to expose their treachery before the stroke of midnight, when the pact would be reaffirmed under the watchful eyes of Eldergrove. Our search led us through winding alleys and shadowed corners, where revelers laughed and danced, oblivious to the danger among them. Each masked face held potential betrayal, each laugh a haunting echo of the threat looming over us. It was beneath the bell tower that we found the masked figures huddled in clandestine conversation, their words laced with resolve and malice. Recognition flickered among us, pieces of a fragmented puzzle finally clicking into place. Betrayal was close at hand, and destiny demanded action. Alaric and I moved with a swiftness born of desperation, casting off the trappings of celebration to confront the Forsaken. As the clock neared midnight, the confrontation ensued, a dance not of festivity but of combat, blades whispering through the air under the watchful eye of the timeless moon. The Masquerade of Eternal Night became a theater of shadows and intent, each heart pounding with the knowledge that the future of the Veil was cradled in the balance of our resolve. As our blades clashed with theirs, the truth shone clear. This was more than a struggle of survival. It was a battle for the very soul of Eldergrove. In the aftermath, as the first light of dawn painted the eastern sky, we stood together, masked no longer. The Forsaken were defeated, their threat temporarily doused but not extinguished. We had won a battle, but the war was far from over. The masquerade had ended, but the dance with destiny continued, each step bringing us ever closer to the heart of the mystery that bound us to the secret that could tear apart the world we fought so hard to protect. Part beneath the glass chapel, as dawn's golden light spilled into Eldergrove, the remnants of the masquerade began to fade, leaving in their wake a village cloaked in urgent resolve. The threat of the Forsaken, though quelled, lingered like a shadow stretching towards the future, driving us deeper into the heart of the mystery that bound the Crimson Veil. Elizabeth summoned me with a gravity that weighed heavy in her words. She spoke of a hidden sanctuary, a sacred place known only to a select few. It was the Glass Chapel, nestled in a secretive hollow deep within the Foresta repository of knowledge and power, safeguarded by the Veil for centuries. My task was clear: to venture into the chapel's depths and uncover the truths those walls had witnessed. Alaric insisted on accompanying me, a silent protector with eyes that missed nothing. Together, we embarked on our journey, treading a path obscured by time and untouched by the folly of man. The forest grew denser as we ventured farther, the trees closing ranks around us, their branches forming an intricate web laced with age-old secrets. Each step brought with it a sense of foreboding, as though the woods themselves were sentinels wary of our presence. When we reached the clearing, the glass chapel revealed itself a marvel of architecture, seemingly spun from dreams. Its walls shimmered with a translucent beauty, the glass capturing the light of the forest and weaving it into an ever-changing tapestry. Inside, the air was charged with energy, crackling with memories held in stasis from ages past. With each exploration, more questions arose. The secrets within the chapel seemed infinite, contained within tomes and scrolls preserved with deliberate care. As we delved deeper, we discovered traces of a forgotten alliance, a bond formed with an enigmatic order known as the Luminous Keepers Guardians of Ancient Wisdom, whose role intersected with our own in ways previously unimaginable. Those alliances could be the key to strengthening the Veil, Alaric mused, his fingers trailing over faded parchments. Yet it was not the Keeper's knowledge alone that the chapel guarded. It was something far more profound, a power entwined with the fabric of existence itself. Our exploration uncovered passages speaking of the chapel's core, a nexus of energies that balanced the delicate harmony between light and shadow. A potential weapon against the Forsaken, perhaps, but also a risk that could unravel the world if wielded recklessly. The discovery came with a price. We were not alone. In the chapel, an unsettling presence skirted the periphery of our awareness. The Forsaken had found their way, trailing us like wolves to the scent of prey. They sought the chapel's secrets for their own designs, a power to unravel the Blood Pact and plunge Eldergrove into chaos. It was there, beneath the shimmering arches, that our confrontation reignited. Shadows danced as clashing steel rang through the sacred space, each strike measured against the stakes held high. Alaric fought with the grace of one forged in darkness, standing as my ally as the chapel bore witness to our resolve. Victory was ours, but not without cost. The glass chapel stood as a reminder of what hung in the balance, a tether to histories shared and paths divided. As the dust settled, it became clear that the answers we sought lay beyond the chapel, within the legacy of the Luminous Keepers hidden in the mists of time. We emerged from the depths of glass and shadow with a determination forged anew. The secrets of the chapel revealed much and concealed more, but they pointed towards a horizon yet to be navigated, a future where trust and unity must guide us beyond the shadows of Eldergrove, towards the sunlit betrayal waiting in the wings. Part the heart of the Veil. We returned from the glass chapel, with our minds heavy with the weight of revelations and our hearts steeled for the trials ahead. The village of Eldergrove, nestled in its timeless embrace, seemed an oasis of calm amidst the gathering storm. Yet we knew all too well that it was a calm that preceded inevitable upheaval. Elizabeth welcomed us back with a measured gaze, her wisdom a balm to the tumultuous thoughts swirling within. We shared our discoveries, laying bare the connections we'd unearthed between the Crimson Veil and the Luminous Keepers. Her expression shifted from surprise to resolute determination, as if the strands of history she'd long suspected were finally woven into a cohesive tapestry. "There is a way forward," Elizabeth explained, her voice steady with resolve. "The Keepers hold the key to reinforcing the Blood Pact. Their knowledge, once thought lost, could be the salvation we seek." Alaric and I knew what lay ahead. Our journey would take us beyond the boundaries of Eldergrove, to a summit where the Keepers might yet exist, their legacy hidden within the echoes of the distant mountains. It was a daunting quest, but one that offered hope if only we could persuade the Keepers to aid us. Our departure was swift, slipping away under the cover of night, with only Elizabeth and a few trusted members of the Vale aware of our mission. Our path guided us through forests thick with secrets and across rivers that whispered of ancient devotions. As days turned to nights and nights spilled into dawns, Alaric and I navigated the shifting landscapes, driven by a shared purpose that deepened with each challenge met and overcome. The journey forged an unspoken bond between us, one that transcended the urgency of our cause, a kinship new and yet innate. Eventually, we reached the foothills of the mountains, their peaks dusted in snow like the crowns of forgotten monarchs. It was here, under the vast tapestry of the sky, that we found traces of the Keepers, hidden among the ruins of an ancient temple that whispered of knowledge long guarded. Within its heart lay a chamber, the repository of the Keepers' wisdom, encoded in runes aglow with an internal light. There, under the shroud of time itself, we discovered a truth that framed our understandings anew. The luminous Keepers held within their legacy the power not only to mend the Blood Pact, but to fortify a relic capable of uniting darkness and light, weaving a balance that could stand undaunted against the chaos of the Forsaken sought to bring. Yet a choice lay before us, to wield that power alone, or to seek unity with our adversaries, a chance to build anew on the foundations of peace, unforeseen by those who harbored strife. It was a decision that held the fate of Eldergrove and the Vale in its grasp, a decision that must be made with wisdom and foresight. With the answers finally within reach, we turned back towards home, hearts burdened by the responsibility of what lay ahead. The shadows of Eldergrove may have borne their secrets, but it was love and unity, timeless and essential, that would guide us to the heart of what truly mattered. As the mountains vanished into the horizon behind us, I caught Alaric's gaze, a silent understanding passing between us. The dance with destiny was nearly complete, the final act set to unfold as we raced against time to save the world we cherished, from the heart of the Vale to its very edge. Heart, legacy of the sunlit betrayal, the return to Eldergrove was marked by a change in the air. The village, peaceful as ever, seemed alive with a breath of anticipation, as if every soul within felt the turning of fate's wheel. Elizabeth welcomed us back, her eyes reflecting the light of newfound hope, tempered by the grim knowledge of the task at hand. The relic from the Keepers was a Marvella crystalline sphere, pulsing with an inner light that seemed to hold the very essence of balance between shadow and sunlit warmth. Possessing it felt like harboring a piece of eternity, a fragment of a world where peace might bloom once again. Word spread quickly of our return and the promise we carried, drawing the Vale's council together within the ancient stone hall, the heart of our sanctuary. Faces familiar and new gathered in solemn assembly, each bearing the marks of hope, fear, and resolve. It was there, amidst the solemnity, that Elizabeth addressed us all, her voice a blend of authority and compassion, calling for unity in the face of looming conflict. She spoke of a chance to forge a new path, to amend past grievances and build bridges with those who had been adversaries, the Forsaken, whom we had struggled against for so long. The proposal was bold, a gamble that rested on the razor's edge of trust and betrayal. To extend an olive branch, even as the scars of battle remained fresh, seemed a folly to many, a risk fraught with danger. Yet the relic offered a chance for healing, capable of mending the rift that time had widened between us. As discussions unfolded, I caught Alaric's gaze once more, his presence grounding me amidst the tide of emotions. Together, we advocated for a new dawn, a brave step towards reconciliation that took root in the fertile soil of understanding. Yet trust proved elusive, old enmities casting dark shadows over the light of our hope. It was then that an unexpected ally emerged from the depths of Shadow One of the Forsaken, a figure cloaked in mystery, yet who stepped forward to offer their allegiance in the pursuit of peace. Their leader, a woman named Seraphine, spoke with a voice wrought from twilight dreams, her intentions clear. She and her kin had grown weary of endless strife, yearning instead for a world where both forces could coexist. The revelation sent ripples through our assembly, igniting a mixture of disbelief and possibility. With cautious hope, we forged an accord, pledging to unite our efforts in a ceremony beneath the same stars that had witnessed centuries of conflict. On the eve of the solstice, we gathered once more in the heart of Eldergrove, bathed in moonlight and the promise of renewal. Under the luminous sky, we enacted the ritual, pouring our shared intentions into the relica beacon that pulsed with life, binding sun and shadow into an intricate dance. The air hummed with energy as bonds long frayed began to knit together, embracing the legacy of a sunlit betrayal turned towards redemption. And with that, balance returned to Eldergrove, a newfound harmony weaving through the village like golden threads in a tapestry reborn. The Crimson Veil and the Forsaken stood shoulder to shoulder, marking a new beginning, a reconciliation that spoke of a future forged through understanding, bound as one in the legacy we had revived. As the first fingers of dawn painted the sky with colors of hope, I stood with Alaric and Elizabeth, the relic a shared testament to what we had achieved. The dance of destiny had led us here, to a place where darkness and light entwined, revealing not just the secrets of our past, but the boundless potential of what lay beyond a story waiting to unfold anew, not just in the shadows, but in the brilliant light of day.